I grew up watching YouTube and loved watching the Draw My Life videos that my favorite YouTubers produced. This inspired me to create this project, a video of my own that expresses some of the literacies that are part of my identity. My first literacy begins at home. Home for me is Torrance, California, a smaller city in Los Angeles County. Torrance is where I was born and lived my entire life, so many things that are part of my identity come from here. All the orange lines I am drawing in this are the millions of highways we have and the horrible traffic that comes along with that. Regardless of that, I love Torrance, and I'm glad it's the place where the foundation of one of my literacies began. Anyway, my story began at Torrance Memorial on April 28, 1998. My mom's name is Maria, and Maria actually had all 4 of her children at the same hospital. As a kid, I attended Torrance Elementary, and our mascot was Tori the Tiger. I loved that school. All the kids and my friends who went here were super different, which made me become used to being surrounded by many people of different backgrounds. Both my parents are Mexican, born in Mexico, but all 3 of my siblings and I grew up American, so to speak. At Torrancell, I was surrounded by American culture, but at home, I knew little about it. At home, my family normally ate traditional Mexican foods. Eating tacos, tamales, enchiladas, and other kinds became so normal to me, and I didn't really know it was different than what an ordinary American child would eat. It soon became difficult for me to be comfortable with who I was. I loved my Mexican culture, but it was so hard to know everything I needed to know about American culture, so I began to think of myself as not only being Mexican or American, because I really wasn't one or the other. Both backgrounds influenced me equally and made me literate in a special combination of the two. I'm going to fast forward to my next literacy, which actually doesn't come until after high school. During high school, I was super worried about my GPA, SATs, and getting into college that I never really put much thought into where I wanted to go. I hadn't done much research on universities in general, nor did I have a concrete idea of what I wanted to do. However, I was really interested in working with animals. I know it's probably every kid's dream to become a vet when they grow up, but it was honestly a genuine interest of mine that I thought I would pursue. So I thought UC Davis. Lots of teachers were recommending this school to me because of how great their animal science program was. I have to admit, I was totally excited on the idea of moving to Cowtown, USA, and leaving behind the city I grew to love. So then, my family and I got on a plane and headed to UC Davis in fall 2016. Totally kidding, we actually drove there on the 5 highway for 6 hours. It's a crappy drive that I still have to make to this day. When I finally arrived, I was super excited to move into Scrub Oak and Tercera. My roommates were super chill people, those who I knew I would get along nicely well. What I wasn't expecting was to be thrown into a place that had so many people from all kinds of backgrounds. A school with 35,000 students is a big change from my 2,000 student high school at first, but I was excited to meet different people who had experiences that I've never known. This literacy is in diversity, because ever since I came to Davis, I haven't stopped learning about all the backgrounds and experiences people come from and have. It's made me a much more knowledgeable person, and it will continue to shape my identity in the future. My next literacy is kind of a private one, that I've never really had the courage to share about before. When I came to Davis, I got to explore a lot more about my identity. I became comfortable with who I was, and who I am now is a gay man. This literacy is in the LGBTQIA community, although it is one that I myself still don't have much knowledge about. I grew comfortable with the idea of being gay because of the LGBTQIA Resource Center here on the UC Davis campus. It was a center that I had never heard of before, and it fascinated me to think there was a whole community of people like me here at Davis. I have to admit, I've never been in the center before, because I'm still afraid that people will find some way to judge the person that I am based on my sexual orientation. I'm so grateful that a place like this exists. My last literacy takes place a year later, when I decided to take my first Spanish class here at UC Davis. I took Spanish 31, a course for native Spanish speakers, this fall quarter. I wanted to strengthen my Spanish speaking skills and become much more fluent in my mother tongue. When I first got to class, I was pretty intimidated by all the other students. I felt as though they knew Spanish way better than me, and that there was no way I was anywhere near their level. However, after being in the class throughout the quarter, I learned more about the language than I ever could have hoped. My literacy in Spanish is one that is especially important to me because I can use it to communicate people within my cultural background. Overall, my 4 literacies include Mexican American culture, diversity, the LGBTQIA community, and Spanish. These are the literacies that are most important to me, especially because I know they will continue to develop in the future. Thanks again for sticking around and watching a little video about my life. Make sure to drop a like and hit that subscribe button. The end.